I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. The title of today's show is called Blindsided. But before we get into why I think some people can be blindsided right now, I want to congratulate you all on a wonderful thing that is happening on your 4th of July weekend. And that is because, and I want to wish you happy 4th of July, and that is because from July 4th until July 10th, those 6 days, the two love planets in the heavens will be conjuncting. And so I wanted to explain why there's two love planets and what kind of different love each one of them represents, to help guide you in your relationships. And so the first love planet is the one we're all familiar with. It's Venus. And Venus rules a touching love. It rules Libra, an air sign, and Venus is going to leave Taurus, and by July 4th, it will be in Gemini, and it will be trining the sign it rules, Libra, which is wonderful. So Libra rules peace and partnership, love and marriage. It rules compromise and negotiation, a little give and take there. And it rules beauty and art, and it rules decorating, and it basically rules wanting to get along with a lot of people or sort of put a good face on something. And above all, it rules the law and all legal contracts. And so that's a touching love. That's the kind of love where you meet somebody and you fall in love and you want to share things with them and be with them. And then Uranus is the higher octave of Venus, but it doesn't rule touching love. It rules Platonic love. And Uranus rules Aquarius. Well, on July 4th, Venus will go into Gemini, but on July 7th, 3 days later, Uranus will follow and also enter Gemini, and these two love planets will be conjuncting. And it is in Gemini, and so Uranus will be at last trining the sign it rules, Aquarius. And so that's very favorable. Not only is there a powerful conjunction of the two love planets, but they're both trining the signs they rule, which is great. But let me explain a Uranian love. Uranus rules Platonic love. It rules not love of each other the way Venus rules Libra. It rules love of participating in something with other people. I want to give you some examples of Uranian love because it's easy to recognize, and you could be involved in that in your everyday life. For instance, if people go to a sporting event and each side is betting on a team to win, and one of the teams wins, then those people are all ecstatically happy that their team won. They don't love each other. It's not a touching love, but it is a love for something where they can all express their joy about their team winning. Or if you had musical interests and you wanted to make music, and so the different members of a band get together, and those members can each be pretty good at the instrument that they play, but maybe they want to make new music or write a new song. And so they get together, and it's their love of what they're doing. And not their love of each other, but their love of what they're doing. That is an expression of Uranian love. And Uranus does rule Aquarius, which rules the future and things ahead of their time, and invention and music. So that's another example of Uranian love. Or an example of Uranian love that we are all aware of is when those engineers at NASA all get together and they have different skills and they're all working on trying to get a rocket to blast off, and it does. Well, then you see them all full of joy because what they loved doing actually worked. It isn't that they love each other. In Uranian love, you don't love each other, you love what you're involved with. And so when the rocket comes back down, and it does land successfully, then they're overjoyed again, because it's not only the blast off, it's the return that they were successful at, each participating in their own way. That's Uranian love, a Platonic love. generally for something that is creative or that people are doing because they enjoy that, and they don't love each other, but they enjoy what they're doing together, that's fine. And so I wanted to explain this rare time when these two planets, which are the love planets, go in from July 4th through July 10th. First Venus goes in to Gemini and immediately starts to trine Libra. It's also trining Pluto in Aquarius. That's great. And then on July 7th, Uranus comes in. It's conjuncting Venus immediately, and it's trining the sign it rules, Aquarius, where Pluto is. So that's a pretty nice time for whether you are loving somebody in a touching way that can form a partnership or something closer, or whether you're loving doing something with other people in a platonic way, which means you don't love each other, but you sure love what you're doing, or it's for a greater cause, or it's to create something new. So it is very unusual to have this happen. And the reason why is that Venus takes 8 months to go through all 12 sun signs, less than a year. But Uranus takes 84 years to get around a chart once. And so this has not happened in our lifetimes. And the reason why it hasn't happened in our lifetimes is because Uranus hasn't been, it still isn't out of Taurus yet. It's at the 29th degree of fate. We're going to get to what that means in a minute. But it hasn't, the last time it was in Taurus at the 29th degree was 1942. Okay, so many of us were not born then, so we haven't seen what happens when Uranus goes into Gemini, because we weren't alive then. And we particularly haven't seen these two love planets conjuncting each other and trining the signs they rule as well. This will not continue to hold, but it's pretty great that it's happening over our 4th of July weekend. So have a good 4th of July. But to get back to our show today, and the title of it, Blindsided, there's a specific reason for the title to be like that. And that is because another very rare thing is happening today among the heavens. And it is that we have 9 planets out of the 10 that are caught in a harsh T-cross. There's 5 planets in the cardinal signs, all caught in a harsh T-cross, challenging and opposing each other. That's a little harsh. And then there's another 4 planets in the fixed signs in a harsh T-cross, all squaring and opposing each other. So that's rough. But where do we get the idea of being blindsided? It is because something so rare is happening that I can't imagine when it would have ever happened in our lifetimes before. And it is because there are 3 blind stars in the universe. And they're at 29 degrees of Taurus, which is where Uranus is today. And it is called a blind star. It's called the Pleaides. And it would be a spot where somebody who was born with a planet, any planet on that degree, would have trouble with their eyes, and perhaps even producing blindness. Another star that is a blind star is at 6 degrees of Leo, and it is called the celli. And it is a blind star. The problem is that we have a planet on that exact blind star today, and it's Mercury, and we have another planet on the blind star in Taurus, and it's Uranus. And they're both in fixed signs, and they're both squaring each other, and they're both on blind stars. I have never seen that before. And that's why the show is titled Blindsided. The third blind star in the universe is at 8 degrees of Sagittarius, and it's called the Antares. So if you have a planet anywhere near the 8th degree of Sagittarius, or the 6th degree of Leo, or the 29th degree of Taurus, you could have eye problems, or you could be blindsided to the things those specific signs represent. Okay, so now we're getting a little closer to what's going on right now, and why the show is called Blindsided. Because first of all, the 5 planets that are in the cardinal signs are all squaring and opposing each other. And they are the Sun and Jupiter, which are in Cancer, a cardinal sign, and they are squaring Saturn and Neptune in Aries, another cardinal sign, which rules new beginnings. And they are also squaring the moon today in Libra, which is another cardinal sign. And so those are the 5 planets in cardinal signs. And since it involves Aries, which rules new beginnings, Cancer, which rules the home and the family, and also Libra, which rules partnerships and the law, it simply means that a new beginning that you may have been anticipating might hit a bump in the road, and it might not turn out quite the way you had been anticipating because of the harshness of this T-cross and the oppositions. I mean, the moon in Libra is opposing Saturn and Neptune, and the sun and Jupiter are squaring Saturn and Neptune in Aries, the sign of new beginnings, and those are 2 slow planets anyway. And so a new beginning may not get off the ground the way you thought it would, or it might prove to be a delay in it, or it might not be what you were anticipating at all. The other thing that could occur under these aspects is that a partnership, remember the moon is in Libra, being squared by the planets, or being opposed by the planets in Aries and squared by the planets in Cancer. It can mean that a partner or a potential partner can be letting you down. Maybe something's not going to work out in a partnership or in some sort of legal contract the way you thought it would. And so there can be disappointment and delay in that as well. But then we have 4 planets that are in another harsh T-cross among the fixed signs. And this is where we're running into real trouble. And that is because Taurus is a fixed sign, and we can see today that Venus, the ruler, is at 28 degrees, and remember, it's a faster mover than Uranus, and it's conjuncting Uranus at the 29th degree, a blind star, in Taurus. And so that's not too good because Uranus is a malefic planet. It's not a lovey-dovey planet. It's a planet that rules sudden, surprising change, a rebellion, eccentricity, lots of sudden surprises there, particularly in financial matters. These 2 planets are squaring Mercury at 6 degrees of Leo today. And that is where the blind star, celli, is. And so Uranus, a malefic planet, is on one blind star in Taurus, and Mercury is on another blind star in Leo, and they're squaring each other, and Mercury is squaring Venus in Taurus as well. And also, that Mercury in Leo is being opposed by Pluto, which is retrograde in Aquarius. So there are the planets in the fixed signs, and some of those planets are on blind stars that are squaring each other. In fact, one of those is a malefic planet, Uranus. And so what does that mean? For sure, somebody is blindsided right now. It could be a person, it could be an organization, it could be the head of a country. But the problem is, since Leo rules gambling, remember these blindsided effects are occurring according to what these signs rule. And Leo rules gambling, and Taurus rules financial matters, and Aquarius rules the future, but Pluto rules management that's looking toward the future. And it's retrograde. Management is changing. Okay, so these things are not in good aspect to each other. And so what it means is that somebody or an entity or even a whole country has taken a huge gamble and lost. Okay, and what they have lost, it means that they are in debt. And not only are they in debt, but they've lost tangible assets. In other words, they can't get out of debt. And so this is a time when somebody who's sort of influential, or an organization, or the head of something, they can't survive right now. It's as if the rug has been pulled out from under them, and they can't survive their losses. And so why is that? Because they were blindsided by their own greed. And this is where they've ended up. And so we're going to see somebody with huge losses, even hidden losses. And they've been so good at hiding their losses, we don't even know about those. But we know what other losses are. And this is a time when somebody has been so blindsided by their own greed that they cannot recover from that. So the rug's been pulled out from under them. Let's just hope that's not you and me. I mean, whoever it is, they've lost. And they cannot recover it. There's just too much debt. There's too many loss of assets. They were blindsided by their own greed. And there's no way to recover from it. All right, so what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries. Remember, I told you that there's 5 planets in cardinal signs, and yours is a cardinal sign, and they're all squaring and opposing each other. And so remember, it would tend to signify that some new beginning is not going to get off the ground the way you might be thinking it would, or maybe the way you want it to. I don't think it's going to get off the ground due to some sort of delay or disappointment, or simply due to the fact that there's too many challenges to it, or something isn't working out the way you thought it would. And so it is very important to remember that the 2 planets that are in your sign, Aries, are very slow planets. They are Saturn and Neptune. Both of them are conjuncting exactly at 2 degrees in your sign, and they are about to start going retrograde, and they will re-enter Pisces for a while and then come back for a longer stay in your sign. So something may not be working out right now due to challenges in a real estate matter, or dealing with a family or a home, or some sort of ending, which perhaps it's challenging you in some way, and maybe you got to get over that before you can make a new beginning, or maybe something isn't going to work out the way you had been anticipating, Aries, right now. And so there is some backup to your sign, and it is that Mercury in Leo, which is on a blind star right now, is trining your sun. And so I would say you need to be a little bit cautious about who you're doing business with right now, Aries, because perhaps they are not all that they seem. Or it can be that somebody else has taken a gamble and they want you to cover it for them because they've lost. And that could be a child. Leo rules children. Or it could be just somebody who likes to gamble, or it could be involving some entrepreneurial affair, or somebody in the entertainment industry. That's what Leo rules, or the sports industry. But you better be a little bit careful what you say yes to right now, Aries, because there are really too many planets harshly aspecting your sun sign where you have these 2 very slow planets. And so you might have been, Neptune can rule kidding yourself. You might have been kidding yourself about wanting to make a new beginning with somebody who sort of talked the right talk, or they seem to project themselves in a way that may not have been true. And in that sense, they could have been blinding you to the real truth about what's going on behind the scenes in their life. Because it is being challenged right now by Uranus in Taurus, which is on another blind star exactly squaring that Mercury. So Mercury's trining your sun, excuse me, it is trining Saturn and Neptune. But I would say, don't accept any plug nickels right now, Aries. You better test somebody before you believe them. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And so you better be real cautious this week, is what I'm thinking. Because the moon is in Libra, and it's opposing your sun sign. So when the moon opposes Saturn, which can be dealing with mothers and fathers or authority figures, there can be problems with children, or with parental matters too. And so I would just urge you to go slow. Go ahead and enjoy your 4th of July weekend, but I would go real slow. And if a new beginning has a real slow way to get off the ground, that might do you actually some good in the long run, Aries. You don't need to be in a hurry right now. It might be safer if you slow down a little bit. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time, Taurus, with Venus, your own ruler, conjuncting Uranus in your sign. You could think, well, this is the best of both worlds. You could think that, oh, gee, my investments are doing great, or I can live in a really nice home, or move to a new one, or something like that, and you'd be somewhat blind, perhaps, to what everything is costing right now, Taurus. Or it can be that what goes up could come down, and you have not anticipated that. Because Venus is the faster mover between the two planets in your sign, and it's going to move right over the 4th of July weekend, right into Gemini, where it will then begin to trine. It's the sign it rules, Libra, which is pretty good for partnership or legal contracts. And so if you think that you're on the verge of some financial breakthrough, I would say that might be true. But on the other hand, if you haven't examined how much that's going to cost you, I would not jump in, Taurus. Because there's 4 planets in fixed signs, and yours is a fixed sign, and they're all squaring and opposing each other, including your sign. And Uranus is at that 20 on the blind star, at the 29th degree of fate. And I think that what that really means is that you have not anticipated either the huge amount of cost that is connected with something that you really love, but it could be a little pricey even for you, Taurus. Or it can be that something is going to cost you more than it's worth, and if you don't find that out until after you've gone into debt for it, or after you've spent your last dime, what good is that going to do you? And you could be blind to some financial conditions around you that are not the way you're looking at them. And so you need to be really, really careful. You could have been misled about, I think, about something that's costing you more than it's worth. And maybe now is a better time for you to step back and face the truth about that. And if I were you, Taurus, I would conserve my resources. You're going to need to, because Mercury is on another blind star in Leo. Leo rules gambling. If you have taken a gamble, or you are associated with anybody else that has taken a gamble, they may have lost even more than you realize, and they may want you to bail them out. That's not a good idea. So you need to be very careful, because this is the first time that I have ever seen planets on 2 of the blind stars, of the 3 blind stars, and the planets are squaring each other anyway without being on the blind stars. But being on 2 blind stars means that a whole lot of people are not seeing things the way they really are. And for you it would be involving money, because yours is a fixed financial sign. And Pluto in Aquarius is squaring the planets in your sign and opposing that Mercury that basically is in trouble because it's on a blind star today. So I would step back, Taurus. And if you're thinking about spending a lot of money right now, I'd think twice, because you just might be blind to all the costs that might be incurred right now on something that you're going to buy or some way that you're going to spend your money. I'd be real careful about that and just step back. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is a time, Gemini, when, I think you're about to get real lucky. And the reason why is that between July 4th, our 4th of July weekend, and July 10th, both love planets will be in your sign, and they'll be conjuncting. Venus is the first one to go in, and that'll make you feel good, and certainly in a loving mood, because that Venus, which rules touching love, is trining Libra, which rules partnership and peacemaking and contracts and getting along well with people. And so you could be surprised, Gemini, that you're a little more popular than you thought you were. And that's wonderful, because your heart could be full right now. And you could sort of feel like spreading the goodwill around. And people would appreciate that. They'd like you for that. Because Uranus on July 7th, the higher octave of Venus, which rules Platonic love, is coming into your sign as well, Gemini. And these two will be conjuncting closely. Remember, Venus is the faster one. It's going to move on. It won't be in the conjunction. Uranus is so slow it can't catch up to Venus. It's just Venus is gonna move on. But you're gonna be pretty popular over your 4th of July weekend, or you're gonna have a good time. Even if you just want to do simple things around the house, you'd enjoy that. So I think you're gonna be pretty happy with wherever you are, Gemini, over the 4th of July. And you could be thinking about partnerships, or decorating, or redoing something, or remodeling it, or beautifying either yourself or your life in some way, and that would work out quite well while Venus is in your sign. But your sign rules easy transitional change, and it rules communication. And so I think more people are going to try to communicate with you, Gemini, and you're going to be in the mood to reply. Keep your eyes and ears open for good offers, Gemini, because there could be some wonderful ones, and they could be coming sort of right out of the blue. And they may involve the Uranian type of platonic love, where somebody just asks you to join them in doing something that you both love. That could be great too. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer. Yours is a cardinal sign. The cardinal signs are in a little trouble right now, and that is because you're not in too much trouble, Cancer, but you could be involved with other people who are, and I think you are definitely involved with that, because the Sun and an exalted Jupiter are in your sign right now, Cancer, and they are being squared by Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and they are also being squared by the Moon in Libra today. And so there aren't any other planets in the water signs, but you have 2 great planets in your sign, the Sun and Jupiter. So I think you're going to have a pretty good 4th of July, Cancer. But on the other hand, it would pay you to keep your guard up. And the reason why is that because Saturn and Neptune are squaring the planets in your sign, it simply means that a new beginning may not enjoy the liftoff that you thought it would. You may have been anticipating something new beginning right away, and I think you're going to be a little bit disappointed by that, Cancer. Or there could just be a delay in it, and it may not work out, a new beginning may not work out the way that you thought it would. So you have to be a little bit cautious about that. But on the other hand, it may be even more important to you that your ruler, the Moon, is in Libra, and it is squaring the Sun and Jupiter in your sign. Now the Moon is the fastest moving of all the planets. It goes into a sign, and 60 hours or 2.5 days later, it's out of it. That's how fast it moves. And so this square from your own ruler, the Moon, to the Sun and Jupiter in your sign is not going to really last too long, but it can be that you may feel a little bit let down by a partner, or some sort of legal terms that, in one way or another, they may not be what you were anticipating, or what you are willing to settle for. Maybe there's going to have to be some adjustments there. And I would just say go slow. The ball is in your court, Cancer. And Cancers are not pushy people. They're it's ruled by the Moon. The Moon is passive. They're pretty nice to everybody. But the reason the ball is in your court for a whole year, Cancer, is because an exalted Jupiter is in your sign. So even when the Sun leaves your sign, Jupiter's not going to. And so I don't think anything can really dent your optimism this year, because Jupiter rules optimism. But on the other hand, it wouldn't hurt you to keep your guard up a little bit right now, because of these squares. Somebody could come to you with a sad tale of woe and convince you that you're the only one that can help them. And I'd take that with a grain of salt right now, Cancer, because your own ruler, the Moon, is squaring your Sun, and Saturn and Neptune. And Neptune can rule deceptions and omissions at times. They're also squaring your Sun. So just sit back and enjoy the 4th of July, and I would say, since the ball is going to be in your court, because an exalted Jupiter is in your sign for a whole year, I would say continue on with your plans, but keep them quiet, Cancer. You don't have to tell everybody what you're doing right now. Keep it to yourself. That way you don't run into any opposition. Okay, What does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, I'm sorry to say, I think you've been blindsided by something, and if you've taken a gamble on anything, it is not paying off, or else it already has not paid off, or it could have incurred too much debt, even to the point of hiding some debts. And so the reason I say that is because Mercury, the planet of the mind and of communication, is at the 6th degree in your sign, which is where the blind star celli is, and that Mercury is squaring a planet on another blind star, Uranus, which is a malefic planet in Taurus at the 29th degree of fate on another blind star. Venus also is squaring that Mercury in your sign, and Pluto, which is retrograde in Aquarius right now, is opposing that Mercury. It's a little bit like, even if you wanted to really enjoy your 4th of July and all the festivities with it, well, everybody can do that. But on the other hand, Leo, I think that you should not be lavish in any way. Save your money, you're going to need it, because there could be some sort of a gamble. It doesn't mean that you took it now. You could have taken it in the past and thought, oh, well, it'll pay off eventually, and it's not going to, Leo. It's not going to pay off. And it's because you've been blindsided a little bit. And it can be that the people who have been blindsided right now and cannot recover their losses have been blindsided by their own greed. I hope that's not you, Leo. But if it's not you, it's somebody you know, or somebody you're associated with, or somebody who is involved in the same place where you live, or in the same social setting of yours, or whatever. You are associated with, if you're not blindsided, you know who is. And that could be contributing to some loss of a gamble that you've taken yourself, Leo, which you were sure was going to pay off handsomely. Well, it might have paid off, but not handsomely enough. Or it may not have given you everything that you wanted. And so you're going to have to face the fact that there is a loss around somewhere that you've sort of got to cover right now, Leo, in one way or another. And for sure, I would suggest that you don't take a gamble on anything from now on. And that means that, you just could have lost because you believed whatever somebody told you, and it turned out not to be true. And, you could have fallen for blue sky, and or fallen for somebody's clever line, and you would be ending up having to pay for that now, Leo. And, these planets will move off these blind stars. Okay, Mercury will move off that blind star in your sign, and Uranus is going to move off the 29th degree of Taurus and into Gemini by July 7th. But still, the planets in Taurus square your sun, Pluto in Aquarius oppose your sun. You are facing financial challenges somewhere, and I would say that there is some gamble that you have taken, Leo, that you cannot recover your losses on it. And sometimes you just have to chalk something up to a loss, and that's it. And try to pay it off and get over it. Try not to take another gamble, or try not to believe people without checking everything first. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Oh, Virgo. Well, Virgo, there are 2 planets that are trining your sun right now. They're not going to stay that way, though, but they're at least doing it today. And one of them is on a blind star. So you, too, could have been misled or blinded by the hope for good profits, and they may not be there, Virgo, or not as much as you were expecting. And the reason why is that Uranus, a malefic planet, is in Taurus at the 29th degree of fate, which is where a blind star is, and it is trining your sun. And Venus is conjuncting it at 28 degrees of Taurus, and it too is trining your sun, Virgo. So you could certainly be anticipating a sort of a nice payoff on some investment of yours, or a sale that you have made. Of course, then you might have your mind on buying something with the proceeds. And I would urge you to slow down, Virgo, because anytime a planet is on a blind star, everybody better stop and check their facts, or check what they're doing, or check who they're listening to, because People can be blindsided for a variety of reasons right now. And it can be that somebody has sold you a little blue sky, or made you a promise that maybe they're not intending on keeping, or just strung you along in one way or another. And or it could be an investment that is fluctuating. The value of it is fluctuating, and you may need to do a little bit more thinking about whether to sell it or hold it, or what you want to do with it. And if you've been getting financial advice, Virgo, I would say that you need to check the source, make sure that they're trustworthy. They might be, but they too could be blindsided by something. Whoever is blindsided right now, they've been blindsided by their own greed. But that could affect a number of other organizations or people. It could affect banks. It could affect other countries. It could affect individuals or whole segments of society right now who were misled or didn't know what the real truth was. They were blindsided. Well, maybe that happened to you too. Mars is still in your sign. And you may have been in a big hurry. And I would say slow down, Virgo. You can afford to just enjoy a nice 4th of July. You don't have to do anything. And generally the banks are closed on national holidays, so just sit back and rethink what you want to do, Virgo, and how much it's going to cost. And I would say, since there are two planets on blind stars squaring each other, which is so rare, I've never seen that happen before. Particularly, it would not have happened in 84 years, because Uranus hasn't been at the 29th degree on the blind star in Taurus for 84 years. So if you're younger than 84, Virgo, you haven't seen this either, and I haven't either. So that's why we should all be cautious. And I advise you just slow down a little bit. Make sure that wherever you've got your money, make sure it's in the hands of people that you really can trust, who are themselves solvent and don't have any hidden debts around. If people are hiding their debts, they're not going to tell you about it. And that's why you got to be a little bit slower in what you do with your money right now. So good luck and enjoy your 4th. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, you are about to have a little bit more fun this 4th of July weekend than you think. And the reason why is that Venus is coming into your sign. It's coming into Gemini, and it will trine your sign. And it's the Venus that rules touching love, or partnership love. You could meet somebody that could steal your heart away this weekend, Libra, and you would enjoy it. Or you would be very popular. And so that's great. But Venus is going to come into Gemini and trine your sun, and then Uranus is coming in on July 7th, and it too will be trining your sun, and they will both be, these two love planets will be conjuncting and trining your sun sign as well, Libra. And that's not only going to make you popular, it could suddenly result in an offer for some sort of new endeavor or a partnership offer of some sort. Even if it's temporary or part-time. Remember, that's what Gemini rules, temporary or part-time things. And that includes jobs or projects or whatever, and community efforts. If you get any offer to participate in something where you're in a group environment and you can meet new people, I urge you to do it, Libra. You would be very popular. Libras are charming. And it's your own ruler, Venus, it's going to be in Gemini, trining your sun. And Pluto is in Aquarius, also trining your sun. You could be at some 4th of July event or whatever, and somebody very influential could just sort of bump into you, Libra. And you could just start talking and surprise. They like you, you like them. Isn't that nice? That could happen. So I think you're going to have a great weekend, Libra. And yours is still a cardinal sign, and there's 5 planets in cardinal signs, including the moon in your sign today, which is being squared by the sun and Jupiter in Cancer, and it's being opposed by Saturn and Neptune in Aries. And so there can be a delay in a new start for you, Libra. It can be postponed or put off or something like that. And it might not be your fault at all. It's just something that happens. And if I were you, I wouldn't feel bad about that. just gives you more time to prepare for something new that's coming into your life and that is most enjoyable. Whatever, it may not last for too long, or it could lead to a great partnership, but it's definitely going to be enjoyable. And it's going to be very easy. It's going to be around your neighborhood or in a community thing or just among people doing casual things. That's how it'll start. And it will just be wonderful for you, Libra. So be sure and get out of the house and enjoy your 4th of July. There could be all kinds of hidden blessings in getting to meet new people right now. So you should enjoy that. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Oh, Scorpio. This is a time, Scorpio, when remember there are 4 planets in fixed signs in a harsh T-cross. Well, you don't have any planets in your sign, but oh, your sign's getting hit anyway. You're a little bit used to that by now, Scorpio, because that was happening before a lot. And so Pluto is still squaring your sign. It's your own ruler, and it's retrograde now. It's in Aquarius, meaning that management has got to change in organizations that want to zoom into the future, and that can represent change for you as well, Scorpio. And then Mercury is at the 6th degree of Leo, which is on a blind star. And so if you hear about you get any news, Mercury rules news. If you get any news about some sort of gamble or somebody who's lost a gamble, or if you've made a gamble, you might have lost it by now, Scorpio. If I were you, I would just take things real slowly right now. And particularly if someone else has lost a gamble and they're wanting you to cover their losses, the answer should be no. In no uncertain terms, just no. And the reason why, you'd be pouring your money down a hole that would be never ending. Whoever has lost a gamble and tries to get money out of you right now, Scorpio, they'll keep trying. No matter how much you give them, they'll try for more. And so it's got to be no. And then Venus and Uranus in Taurus, and Uranus is on another blind star at the 29th degree of Taurus, which is the degree of fate. They are both opposing your sun sign. It can be you, Scorpio, that has lost a gamble, or you hear about that. And it might be something where you thought that, geez, something was really going to pay off, so you invested in it, and something happens, and the market turns down, and you've lost the possibility of future profits, and it may mean that you've incurred debts. Or if you have been lucky enough to stay out of debt, I urge you to keep that up, Scorpio, and don't go into debt for anything right now. First of all, you shouldn't need to. Your sign rules good money management. And so this is just a time when you need to sit back and keep your hands in your pocket. Because these planets in the other fixed signs, including Taurus, which is a fixed financial sign, are wanting to get money from you one way or another, Scorpio. And you don't have to say yes to anybody like that. People who have been blindsided by their own greed cannot recover their losses. But that doesn't mean you have to. They made their losses. They can cover them. And if you have some losses, you'll have to cover your own as well. But the Sun and an exalted Jupiter in Cancer are both trining your Sun, Scorpio. And if you were only staying home and participating in a backyard picnic with your neighbors, and watching the 4th of July fireworks, you would have a wonderful time. You could be very popular right now, Scorpio, but it's in a sort of a homey, casual way. And that would be good for you. Would it involve the 2 love planets influencing you? I don't think so. And the reason why is that Venus rules touching love, and it'll go into Gemini, which is in conjunct your sun sign. So the conjunction of Venus and Uranus in Gemini is sort of far away to affect you, since it's 150 degrees away from your sun or in conjunct. And so the good news about these 2 planets moving on into Gemini, which is an air sign, so they can trine the signs they rule, is that these 2 planets are going to leave Taurus. And Taurus opposes your sun sign. So whether you're involved with somebody you're involved with them in a Uranian kind of love, which is platonic, which means you both enjoy doing something together, but you don't love each other. You love what you're doing. Even that influence will pass by as these planets leave Taurus. There will be sort of an ending to that. And that may be good for you, Scorpio, because they were continually opposing your sun sign, which means that somebody had the upper hand, and it may have been somebody who wanted you to solve their problems for them, and you don't know anybody that. If somebody else has a problem that they made, they need to solve it, or it'll never get solved. And so stick close to home, Scorpio, and enjoy your 4th of July. I think you're going to really enjoy it. And the closer you stick to home and sort of the way you were raised or the values you learned years ago, the much better off you'll be this year, because Jupiter's going to be trining your sun from Cancer for a whole year. And believe it or not, by going back to what you learned when you were a child, it'll really help you go forward in your life and bring you peace. And that will be good. Congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Oh, Sagittarius. The third blind star is actually in your sign, Sagittarius. I bet you didn't know that. People don't talk about these things. But it's at 8 degrees of Sagittarius. So if you have a planet that's anywhere close or on the 8th degree of Sagittarius, you may be a person who's had eye trouble in your life because it's a blind star. Or it can be at this time that you may be trying to think of a way out of some speculative situation that you may have heard about or been involved with in one way or another, and you really should try to get out of it. And the reason why, Sagittarius, is because Mercury is at 6 degrees of Leo today, and it is trining your sign. And it's closely trining that 8th degree in your sign, which is where the third blind star is. But because it's trining your sign, and Mercury is on a blind star at 6 degrees of Leo, it can be that you may have heard about some speculative venture or something that involved the entertainment field or sports or something where you could be going along with other people, maybe even taking a gamble on something yourself. And I would urge you to think twice about that, Sagittarius, because that's a blind star that Mercury is on. Meaning other people who take gambles are being blindsided right now by their own greed. So no matter how much somebody is promising you huge profits for something, I would take that with a huge grain of salt and not respond too much to that right now, Sagittarius. Try not to believe anybody that's painting blue sky in front of you, because that's all it is. And just taking the slow route is certainly better for you. And it can be that a new beginning has a hard time getting off the ground right now for you, or it has a delay involved with it, or some sort of partnership or legal terms that can be setting you back a little bit right now. But I still urge you to trust the fact that Saturn and Neptune in Aries, although they're going to go retrograde and back into Pisces, and then they'll come back into Aries for good, for years, and they are trining your sun right now, Sagittarius. And Saturn is just never going to let you down. That planet doesn't let anybody down, but it demands very hard work at the same time. You have to earn your rewards. And so because it's trining your sun, where it has prior, in the last 3 years or so, it's been in Pisces, squaring your sun the whole time. You have had setbacks. Or you have had things that were, things that you didn't want to take seriously, but they did turn out to be drawbacks or roadblocks. And, stick with something, Sagittarius. Now you've got Saturn trining your sun and Neptune trining your sun. And they're getting hit. They're part of a harsh T-cross of 5 planets in Cardinal Signs right now. So they can't be a whole lot of good to you, but they are still trining your sun. And so you mustn't give up on anything, Sagittarius, even if the future's looking a little gloomy at the moment. I think if it is looking gloomy, it's only because a new beginning seems to be out of reach. I would say go back and check again. It's not really out of reach. Remember, people who are blindsided by their own greed not only have debt, they have hidden debts. Okay, people that you could be dealing with are a lot broker than you think, Sagittarius. So you stick to your own terms. You stick to what you want to do. Don't worry, they'll listen. Might take them a while, but they'll listen. So just keep going. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Oh, Capricorn. Well, Venus and Uranus in Taurus, which are conjuncting now, Venus is at 28 degrees and Uranus is at the 29th degree of fate on a blind star, are both trining your sun. And Mars is in Virgo still, and it is trining your sun. And so you could be a little bit impatient, Capricorn, and sort of want things to get done right now. And, Mars is trining your sun. You could have extra energy right now. And you could be believing that there are people out there that can be talking about a really good deal or something that can be bought at the right price. And it can be very tempting for you. But with two planets, both on blind stars and squaring each other, this is not the time for anybody to believe anyone else's blue sky or promises, particularly financial promises. And so Capricorns are pretty careful with their money anyway. And I say just, keep your hands in your pocket, Capricorn. This is a good time for you to sit something out. And I would say waiting pays off for you. Just waiting pays off for you. And you may as well wait. I don't think that there's any other direction you can go in that will get you what you want. So waiting something out is it's a good delaying tactic, actually. Wait until the weather changes. Wait until the terms change. Wait until other people change. And then go forward with your plans. And the reason why is that yours is a cardinal sign. There are 5 planets squaring and opposing your sun sign. And sure, there's 3 trining it. But right now, some of those planets really mean business, and it's confrontational business. And you need to stay out of that, Capricorn. You don't need to get in a fight with anybody, even if people want to fight with you. I wouldn't do it. Or just turn around and walk away. Why put yourself through the aggravation? You don't need to. And so, if you don't bother to answer your phone, that's okay. It's a holiday weekend anyway. People could think you're somewhere else enjoying your 4th of July. Fine. Then you don't have to be involved in any kind of controversy at all, because the Sun and Jupiter are opposing your sun sign. The Moon in Libra is squaring your sun sign, and Saturn and Neptune in Aries are squaring your sun sign. It doesn't do you any good to fight with anybody. Even when you're right, it wouldn't work, because they wouldn't listen. So just keep it quiet and enjoy your weekend, Capricorn, all on your own. Or you could review your financial situation right now. You might be quietly happy about that, but I'd keep it to myself if I were you, Capricorn, and enjoy your 4th of July. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time with 4 planets in the fixed signs when I think you can be changing your mind about something. And it might be that in the time from July 4th to July 10th, when both Venus and Uranus move into Gemini and begin to trine Pluto in your sign, and Uranus, that would be the first time in over 20 years that Uranus has been able to trine your sun, and Uranus is your own ruler, Aquarius. And it's been a long time since it was in favorable aspect to your sun sign. And so by July 7th, it's going to be. It'll trine Pluto in your sign. And it'll be conjuncting Venus, and Venus in Gemini will be trining Libra, which rules touching love. And that will be trining your sun as well. Aquarius, if you did nothing but enjoy a nice 4th of July weekend, even if it was just by yourself, that would be fine. That would be fine. I don't think you're going to run into any big problems as long as you're careful. If I think that there are some people around you, Aquarius, that have been blindsided by their own greed, and they not only cannot recover from that, they may approach you to help them recover, and the answer is no. And so rather than put yourself in a position to have to say no, I would just go off and enjoy a nice 4th of July by myself if I were you, Aquarius. You're going to have wonderful planets trining your sun. And you could even meet somebody that could become quite a nice partner, because Venus will be trining your sun. But on the other hand, if you wanted to join a group and do something where you're all sort of rooting for the same team, or doing something where you enjoy doing the activity, that's a Uranian Platonic love. That could make you pretty happy too, because Uranus is your own ruler. And it'll be trining your sun after July 7th. This is one time, Aquarius, when if you wanted to make beautiful music in one way or another, you could do it. And you know, you might want to keep that to yourself. You might want to just enjoy the beauty of something, or the peace, or the joy of a touching relationship, of a nice partnership, or of something that you love doing. Just enjoy it. You can do it. And I would say that particularly after July 7th, when Uranus goes into Gemini and trines your sun, and for the first time in over 20 years, you're going to be a happy camper, Aquarius. I don't know what you're going to do next, but you'll know. The answers will come to you. And they'll be just right for you. And that's all they have to be right for. You don't have to please everybody in the world. Just look for what you want to do, and it'll be right. And since your sign rules music, you'll be able to sort of dance to your own tune as you go forward. And that's the way it should be. You owe yourself that, so good luck. All right, what does it mean to a Pisces? Oh, Pisces. Well, Pisces, this is a time when there is a lot going on, but in a funny kind of a way. I think that if you are anticipating something new that can be going on, you're going to have to wait a little while for that, Pisces. And that would be new. But if you were sort of returning to something that was familiar, that could work out really well. Now, the difference between the two is that your ruler, Neptune, has gone into Aries, which rules new beginnings, but it is in a harsh T-cross among 5 planets in cardinal signs. Well, one of those cardinal signs is Cancer. And Cancer has the Sun and an exalted Jupiter in it, and those 2 planets are trining your sun, Pisces. There isn't anything in your sign, but the lucky north node of the moon is there. And so you could have a wonderful 4th of July weekend. And I don't know if it's with somebody else or it's just by yourself, but I would say there is the possibility that there could be some peacemaking on your horizon, something homey that works out. If nothing else, you could enjoy a pretty good meal. It might just be roasting hot dogs over a fire, or marshmallows. You know, it could be fun. It could be low-key. It could be very satisfying. And it could be pretty close to home. And if it isn't the home that you're in, it could be something that involves a childhood home or a place that's very familiar to you. And it can be also involving some sort of good cooking, because the Sun and Jupiter are trining your sun, and that's what Cancer rules, good cooking. But it's good home cooking. You have that to look forward to, Pisces. That could be something pretty nice for you over the 4th of July weekend. If you were looking for a new start on something, it could start a little bit slowly because Neptune is in Aries right ahead of your sun sign, and it's not too happy in a sign ruled by Mars. There can be other things and getting in the way of a new beginning, so it could have a little trouble getting off to a new start. But on the other hand, if you were only going to stay in your own backyard and enjoy the beauty of the holiday and the peace and the pride of being in America, you know, land of the free, home of the brave. You could really enjoy that. And maybe it's time for a little peace in your heart, Pisces. And this is probably going to be a pretty good weekend for that. And if a new start doesn't get off the ground just the way you want, why don't you put that on the shelf, forget it over the weekend, and just enjoy your weekend? Why not? Everyone else wants to do that too. You may as well jump in and do that, Pisces. And it could be something sort of simple, even in your own backyard. And you know what would make you happy, because there wouldn't be any pressure in it. And this is a time when you can just be yourself. And if you were going to do something, Pisces, in its highest form, your sign rules divinity. It rules overcoming the worst things and still being able to see what's good. And so, if you were going to do something this weekend, Pisces, why don't you count your blessings? Because everybody has them. But have you counted yours lately? Just what's important to you, Pisces. And be glad that it's there for you. And it's important to hang on to what you really love in your heart. And it's also important not to live in the past, but always to rise the way the sun does, to a new day or a new life. You can do it, Pisces. So good luck. Give it a try. Jupiter is going to be, from Cancer, is going to be trining your sun for a whole year. Your life is going to expand, Pisces. Your waistline might expand too, but your life is going to expand. There's going to be more enjoyable people in it. And that'll open up a whole new future for you. And honestly, it could happen right in your own backyard. So good luck. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. I wish you all a happy 4th of July. Whether you're participating in something platonic, where you don't love the people you're with, but you're all crazy about what you're doing or what you're seeing, that would be great. Or whether you're concentrating on a Venus love, a touching love that can go even deeper, both things are going to be possible, particularly from July 4th to July 10th. So good luck, everybody, and I'll see you right back here next week. Thanks a lot. Bye.